What's up, everybody? Metal Dave here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are joined by Jizzy Pearl. You know him best from Love Hate. He's currently in Quiet Riot. He's got a brand new album out that is awesome. It's called Rock Fiesta. It's just a gritty, ass-kicking hard rock record. His voice sounds incredible. The guitar player who we talk about a bit in this episode.
Badass guitar player.
He's killer.
The new record, Jizzy Pearl's Love Hate, I think is what they're calling it. Jizzy's Love Hate.
Yeah, something like that. And the title is Punk Rock Fiesta.
Correct.
It's a great record. We were able to hear an advance copy of it thanks to Jizzy, and it was great. I loved it right off the bat. So he's got that out right now. Of course, he's a well-rounded dude. He's got a YouTube channel that's awesome. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's very down to earth, a lot of good perspective from his side of the music business. It's humorous, it's funny, it's insightful, and as you'll find out today when you hear him talk or see him talk, he's just a great talker with a lot of good energy and a lot of great insight and perspective. So check out his YouTube channel. I think it's called JPearlTV. Yeah. That's on YouTube. And
he's an author.
Yeah. He's written 4 books.
Crazy.
4 books out there. You can go find those as well. And
all on his website. Everything's on the website.
Yeah, everything's on his website. And he's about to do a UK tour. So all of you folks over there in England can keep an eye out for Jizzy. I really enjoyed talking to him today. He was one of those guys that's just very easy to talk to, down to earth, chill, cool, a lot of great insight.
Whenever I do, it's not often that I do run into him, 2-3 times a year, tops. And it's always like, hey, man, and we end up like literally we're both on, it'll either be me or him. We're on in 5 minutes and we're right before I have to go, hit the microphone. Hey, man, cool. And then what's got to go. You know what I mean? It's like, a year hadn't even passed kind of thing.
Right.
It's like cut from the same cloth,
Yeah.
Been around the block, been the replacement singer a few times.
Yeah.
Things in common. Right. The dude is, he's intelligent and he doesn't scare me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's spent some time in Ratt, spent some time in LA Guns, and currently with Quiet Riot. So yeah, he's been around for a while.
Has kept a version of Love Hate going pretty much the whole time, which is good. So
yeah. I really enjoyed talking to him today. He was so much fun. A lot of great stories. Jizzy Pearl today on the Talk Louder podcast.
Yeah. Hey, man, I just want to start off with going, dude, I've always admired you, whether it be standing next to you or from afar. You are just an OG. I remember, I like to tell a story. I saw Love Hate open for AC/DC at the Forum, like 88, something like that.
No.
When was that?
Long Beach Arena.
Long Beach Arena. Wow. Okay. Shit. I didn't even know I was in Long Beach when I saw that.
I remember. I remember. We were on the we were on the same label, Columbia.
Yeah.
And I
didn't really know you guys. I just walked up to y'all after the show. I had a pass. They weren't kicking me out. You guys were walking across the arena floor to the after party. And I said, wow, hey, dude, I'm Jason Toys. And you were like, yeah, you're a Colombian. That's what you told me. And I was like, yeah. I go, what's going on? He goes, you coming to the after party? And dude, Metallica was in there. Like everyone was in that party there.
I know.
And that's
he was kind of shitty, wasn't he? He was just.
Who's that? Who?
Heffield.
Oh, didn't bother me. There was so much going on in there. I was
just bump, he cut in line. It was just, no worries, dude. It's our food, but sure, have at it.
Yeah. The thing about that is I stepped out of the room just because I wasn't drinking that night. I stepped out for a second, and Angus was walking, like, like walking across, and I was like, there was a security guard. I go, I happened to have a pad. I said, do you have something to write with? Pencil, pen, anything? And he's like, yeah, check it out. I go, be right back. And I stopped Angus and had him sign something for me.
You know, it's weird. When I first met those guys, I didn't realize how diminutive they are. Malcolm, even more so.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, straight out of the Shire, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. They're small. But I'll tell you this, packing serious punch.
Yeah. That was a great tour. That was fun. It was just, it was so monstrous to be on that huge stage. It's just, it was really, really awesome. It was really awesome. We did 2 nights at Long Beach.
Oh, well.
Yeah, my mom went. My parents, they'd never, you know what I mean? People don't realize it. Your parents go, oh yeah, he's doing little shows over in the, you know,
right.
And then they were freaked. My mom was just, she couldn't talk.
Wow.
That's when she knew you made a good career decision, right?
Well, it's just, they were just freaked. You know what I mean? They were just kind of speechless. They were just, I cannot even conceive of this 18,000 seater arena that you are presently holding court in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it didn't, anyway, she got over it.
Well, let me ask you this while we're kind of talking about that and sort of, you guys kind of coming out and getting some nice work out of the box. I had seen you guys in a club. I can't remember the name of the club. It was off the beaten path a little bit. Do you know a guy? He's from Texas, but he plays in Sacred Reich out of Phoenix now. But he's from Texas. He was in a band called S.A. Slayer. They were just called Slayer around here. But, you know, they had to let the name go, obviously. But anyway, the deal is he was living in L.A. working with some people. I think he lived with a band called Detente, but he was playing drums for Neil Turbin, that guy that sang on the first Anthrax.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out there recording the first Toys and doing pre-production or something. And he's an old friend and we were running around. He would take me to see bands that were of the local ilk, right? And he goes, oh, there's this band, Love Hate. I think you're going to love them. I'm like, wow, Love Hate. Show me the way. Saw you guys in a club. And he said, these guys used to wear, correct me if I'm wrong, like face paint? Did you guys used to wear face paint?
No. Face paint.
You didn't wear any kind of...
What you talking about, Willis?
Were you were you guys ever doing anything different before you kind of started to be well known outside of Los Angeles
musically,
area?
No, we had a musical sort of evolution. We started out sounding more like Jane's Addiction, kind of more alternative.
Yeah.
There was 2 distinct scenes in Los Angeles. There was sort of the alternative scene with Jane's, Susie and the Banshees-ish.
Yeah.
And then there was the Sunset Strip with kind of the hair metal, you know, mafioso doing their thing. And we were sort of in the middle. You know, we sort of evolved, but we still dug the Chili Peppers and had that sort of musical heritage, you know what I mean, as well. So we were kind of in both camps. But yeah, you know, I mean, we got signed out of the whiskey, and it's funny because, you know, remember Janie Lane was on Columbia too with Warren.
Yes.
And he was a big fan too. And one night I saw him at the whiskey, and I'm all, you know, full of myself, freshly signed. And I come up to him and I shook him. I do, dude, we're label mates. We're label mates. And I think it freaked him out.
Oh, well, I hope he got over that part of it.
He did.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
yeah, a couple of million records later. Yeah, he got over it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's an interesting point. We've had people on the show before that draw that distinction about the LA scene. You know, you had the Sunset Strip hair metal stuff, and then you had sort of the alternative or the grittier stuff like the Hangman and Junkyard and bands that were sort of, you know, had a foot in each genre, so to speak. And I always kind of equated Love Hate a little bit with Bang Tango in the sense that you kind of had a little of that funky vibe sort of mixed in with the music. Not the
Oh yeah, we were funky.
Yeah. No, I mean the music.
Funky Cold Medina.
No,
But
I
you know
get
what
it. I get it. I get it. I don't know if Jizzy's too close to it to get that, but you guys did have some kind of like groove.
It was different. We
Yeah.
were, you know what I mean? Like I said, we were different. We had that, you know, kind of like the Saigon Kick. They were a little bit
Yeah. They
different
had
too at that
something too, yeah.
time. And Life, Sex, and Death. They were a
Oh
little,
yeah, for sure.
they were a little, they were creepier though. With
Yeah.
Stanley, obviously.
They were weird uncle.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
weird uncle. Now the thing about these bands that were, I love this so far. The thing about these bands is you guys were right in there, you know, like swimming in the same lagoon. That it is not the same lagoon that is on Sunset. Just in my opinion, as an outsider, some punk from Texas, and I can put Dave in the same saddle because we're just kind of seeing New York and seeing LA and seeing these different scenes. And you know, we're talking mid to late 80s and like, wow, what's happening right here? And then Rhino Bucket in like 90. And in New York, I want to throw in bands like even Raging Slab and Circus of Power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In these-
Power, they were good.
Yeah, almost like funky, sludgy biker metal, hard rock, weird. Not on the Sunset. They're not on Sunset. I mean, as far as just the hat they're wearing, it has nothing to do with that. Yet, it probably at some point when you're an A&R guy, where do I put these guys? How
Right.
do I promote these? Do I promote Love Hate next to Warrant? Do I put Jizzy next to Janie? Because it's not really in the way I, and maybe Dave too, had saw that. What do you think about that?
You know what? And I think you know this because you were around the same time as I was. It boils down a lot of times to the luck of a song. I remember I was friends with Lane, and he was on Columbia too, a Colombian.
Mhm.
And he told me that Columbia Records didn't know how to market them. You know, they were a different band at the time. You know, this is sort of pre, you know, when the sludge, the grunge guillotine came down and pretty much off with his head.
Right.
You know what I mean? They didn't know what they were doing. And he told me, he goes, Man in the Box, we had that song and they had 80 radio stations and that song just kept going and it saved their ass. Otherwise, you know, they'd be in the same boat as a lot of other bands. It's just kind of, you know, so sometimes it's the luck of a good song.
Yeah.
You had that song on Dial MTV that kicked ass, remember?
Yeah. Yeah. By the skin of our teeth. You know what I mean? Like the luck of the song, because you're right. There was that divider that was coming down, right? And you can literally see it on the calendar. You know?
Well, you know, it was kind of like the first inklings was Temple of the Dog.
I love that record.
And that was a great record.
So
and
good.
we were all behind that record. And then you would start to hear word of mouth in the wind. Have you heard Nirvana? Have you heard of this band called Nirvana? And it became this thing. But you would never think that it would just erase your career.
Right.
You know what I mean? You would never think that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't want to think that.
Right.
You know what I mean? At a certain point, people didn't want to hear our kind of music anymore. I remember we were handing out demos cassette demos still. This is 1992, 1993, handing them out to A&R guys still. And they go, well, you know, I'll listen to it, but I know I'm not going to like it. I mean, that's literally what they would tell you. Just going, fuck.
That means they're not going to really give it a fair shake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're just telling you that.
Speaking of which, I have a funny story. We were going to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was interested in us. This is kind of when Columbia dumped us. And me and Skid, my bass player, we each had a song to submit. He had a song and I had a song. And we went to Warner Brothers. And you know Barry Squire, obviously. He just passed away. He was an A&R guy at Warner Brothers. And so we go to Warner Brothers. It's in Burbank. And I'm going, okay, you know, Warner Brothers digs us. There's still, you know, light at the end of the tunnel. Anyway, Life, Sex, and Death had just fired Alex Kane. And I didn't know this at the time. And Barry goes, have a seat in his office. And he goes, we're auditioning guitar players for Life, Sex, and Death because everybody wanted that gig.
Right.
And we're sitting there in his office watching audition tapes. I mean, John 5 was auditioning. Everybody in town was auditioning. And me and my bass player just sitting there watching this tape. And all of a sudden, and you see Stanley doing his weird shit on the audition tape. Just because, you know, that kind of funky shit he did, the dancing. And anyway, so we're watching it. And all of a sudden, we see our guitar player in the video.
Johnny?
No, Darren.
Oh, Darren
was auditioning for you know, obviously without our knowledge or consent.
Whoops.
And he's playing, and me and my bass player both look at each other. And on the tape, he goes, hey, I hope Skid and Jizzy don't see this tape.
Wow.
Wow.
Funny story.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
What do you think about when I say whether this is related to, you know, love, hate, or, you know, me or you or whoever? I've heard people say that, you know, you say the grunge guillotine came down and was kind of basically cleaning house, and we can't control where the dollar bill blows, but the sheep are going to run after it no matter what. And meanwhile, me and you are still going to put on a rock and roll concert t-shirt and just show up with the same wardrobe when the rest of the world is buying flannels and combat boots. And that's what freaked me out the most. But I've heard people say, and I really like this, you guys can argue, that hair metal killed hair metal. Grunge did not kill hair metal. Because I don't see myself as hair metal. I don't see you as hair metal, but we still got all thrown into the bucket.
Right.
I agree. It didn't kill it. The thing is that kind of rock just became pompous and it became all about the image and the debauchery and it became goofy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just became goofy, the videos and stuff, and cringeworthy in some aspects. You know what I mean? With the choreography and it became Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But it was time for musical change. You know what I mean?
Right.
And unfortunately, my band and your band to a certain extent, we were on the tail end of the buffet.
Yeah.
It was all you can eat. But then around 11:45, well, it looks like we're going to close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a
Everybody
good way.
finish your plate.
Dangerous Toys and Love Hate still on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and we're doing this, you know, stuffing biscuits into our pant legs.
late to catering.
But you are correct. I mean, it was just time. It was just time. I mean, there were rock and roll. That's why, like for my record, Punk Rock Fiesta.
Great
Cool segue, Jizz.
We love it, by the way. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Punk Rock Fiesta. I'm just trying to convey my desire to get back to authenticity in rock and not to make it about, you know, designations and compartmentalized and stuff. It's just straight up. I wanted it to be straight up. I didn't want to go Billy Joel. You know what I mean? I didn't want to start becoming, you know, one of the Temptations, you know, and I wanted to keep it straight up rock and roll. That's why Punk Rock Fiesta just is for me, just a way for me to sort of keep the attitude in rock. You know what I mean? Not grow old, sort of stay, you know, young in my...
In your heart. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I like about it. It's got that belligerent sense of what we all fell in love with when we got into rock and roll. You know, I get it. You know, a lot of times artists want to mature and they, you know, expand their horizons and all that stuff. But I really appreciate it when someone sticks to what it is that put them on my radar.
Well, it's hard. It's hard because the older you get, the more Netflix and weed is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I could just watch Netflix and be on the couch and not try as hard. I mean, as a live performer, it's the same thing. It's a metaphor. It's for the people that stop caring. You got to keep caring, because if you don't care, no one else will. If you don't make the, you know, put in the work to write good songs and try and keep the testosterone going, then who, you know, if you don't do it, no one else will. If you don't put on a good gig, you know, it's going to show in the YouTube videos. You know what I mean? People are going to be thumbs down, bro.
Right. Yeah. I love the record. Jason shared it with me, and I love it. It's really solid. Anybody that is a fan of yours is going to love it, and anyone that's a fan of... It reminded me in some sense of Jason's other band, Broken Teeth. You know, just one of those bands that just has that original spirit of rock and roll. It's nasty.
That's a great name for a band, by the way.
Isn't it? I know,
Really
right?
What, Broken
Because
Teeth?
it does conjure up an image of fuck you.
Exactly.
It's such a good, I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back here, but it's such a good name that some guys in Manchester stole it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a Broken Teeth in Manchester. I mean, I like how I'm promoting
but
them.
you know what?
I'm
They're
promoting them.
probably they just probably have broken teeth.
Maybe because they're a hardcore band, so that would work for them.
Yeah.
And actually, I went and checked them out, of course, and I actually like the band a lot. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But they stole my band name.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
We gotta sue you.
Whoops. Yeah. Well, they're in a territory I can't afford the lawyers for. So I own the name here, but I'm not going to go to Manchester to the soccer game and confront those guys, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you probably shouldn't.
Probably not there, no.
I'm not going to do that.
But yeah, the name kind of tells you what you're going to get, right? And I love bands that have a name that, like Broken Teeth, and we're friends with another band that was based out of Austin called Lower Class Brats. There was another band in Austin called New Disaster. When you hear those names, you know what you're getting, and I love that.
I always wanted to start a punk band and call it Painful Discharge.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know what you're
getting.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
What's inspiring you these days to write, you know, this new Punk Rock Fiesta record? What kind of lyric? Oh, by the way, what's your guitar player's name?
Oh, Darren Householder.
He's unfucking believable.
Oh, yeah, he'll dig that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
fucking crazy good.
You know what, dude? He was one of those shrapnel guys.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, you know, Mike Varney had
of course.
one of these guys.
Yeah.
So he's very he's like Michelangelo with four arms.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but so he's very schooled and he's very skilled. And so I came to him with this music. And I was all excited, you know what I mean? Because I was just going, I got this vibe. I got this energy vibe. And I go, dude, you're going to be a punk rock guitar player now. you know, and he was taken aback.
Wow.
I don't know if I can do that. I'm not sure if I can do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of getting him to maybe dumb it down a little bit, for want of a better word. Even though punk rock guitar players, you got to be really good to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Johnny
But what he did was we got away from the pentatonic blues kind of, you know, the easy route, and he did some deep diving and kind of listened to it over and over and over again in sleepless nights. And I would have my tape recorder on my phone, and I would be giving him tips and cheerleading him a little bit back and forth, which is what I do because it's my music. So I'm always I have my fingers in all the pies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But guitar is so important, you know, the structure of it, and every little lick is important because it's all support structure for the entire song. So, you know, it's very important for me, you know, to be the eye of Sauron when it comes to this kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I get it.
And but to answer your question, I mean, I think he did an amazing job. I mean, it's melodic, but it's very cool. There's cool melodies and you know, we stayed away from the keytar.
Right. But in more positive glitter, he's not overdoing it on the, you know, Bumblebee noodly. He's not overdoing it. There's a little bit of Bumblebee, but there's a little bit of that going on, but it was not annoying to me as the record flowed. But I just want to say, which made him stand out even more as a solid guitar player.
It didn't really suit the material, to be honest with you.
No.
Sometimes when you're playing blues metal or whatever you want to call it, you can go there and it makes sense. But with this music, you couldn't. You know what I mean? In my mind, I'm thinking suicidal tendencies, institutionalized.
Yeah.
So I would give him songs. I gave him Dramarama, Anything. I gave him Dead Kennedys. I gave him Institutionalized. I go, these guys are heavy as fuck, but there's plenty of guitars. There's plenty of room for you to do your thing. You know what I mean? While I'm up there going, and another thing happened to me today. This stupid piece of shit told me, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Meanwhile, of course, you've noticed, I mean, we can roundtable just for 2 seconds on Institutionalized. There's a bluesy pentatonic solo going on the whole time underneath, you know, Mike Muir going, all I wanted was a Pepsi. There's this that's going on the whole fucking time. And I don't know if like punk rockers are listening to that and hear that. But I hear it every time. Wow, that guy's like within
the frame of that punk rock song,
not stepping on Mike.
Well, that's the thing. As a guitar player, if you watch the Eagles documentary, they kind of criticize Felder for giving them cassette tapes where he's just noodling over the whole thing, and they're going, "Well, where do we sing?"
Right.
You know what I mean? As a guitar player, there's plenty of room, but you got to play in and out of the song. There's got to be breath. You know what I mean? It can't be this clash of the titans. Otherwise, it's distracting. You know what I mean? It's got to flow. The song has to flow, basically, and make sense.
Yeah. I like your guitarist, Darren, right? Darren Householder. Yeah, he really shines on your new album. And I like the fact, and along the subject of this conversation here, I like those guitar players that you can tell they're capable, but they show enough restraint that they don't hog or overplay the song. Like, to me, I think of Slash and Tracy Guns, and there was a guitar player in a band called Kill Cheerleader. And I hear them play, and I'm like, wow, these guys could shred with the best of them, but they're doing it in the context of a song that's they still have the swagger. It's not overplaying, it's not taking over the song, but you can tell they're very capable players, and I hear that in Darren.
Yeah, I mean Tracy.
When you said he was a good, when you said he was a strapper guy,
person to bring up because he can play. You know, he can play as loud as you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And will.
Right. Right.
He'll blow your fucking head off. He will.
Yeah.
But he also has that sensibility to know when not to play.
Yeah, it's all about space, right? We've said that on the show a bunch of times. There's a lot of value in silent spaces here and there and giving the song, you know, time to breathe.
Look at DeMartini. He's the same way. I mean, that guy could just, you know, but he knows. You have, as I think if you're writing songs, if you're actively writing songs as a songwriter, be you a singer or a guitar player, then you learn that sensibility. You know what I mean? It's the guys that kind of come in as hired guns and then just go, you know, they're not thinking about the song. They're thinking about me.
Right, right.
I feel like it was kind of a, I hate to say this, but an 80s thing where I feel like a lot of very capable guitar players come from their bedroom lair and they learned how to, you know,
you're being careful. I can tell you.
I am. They learned how to bumblebee, you know, worshiping the Yngwie, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, but that's all. They would skip over, you know, jump the needle to the solo. I don't want to hear the singing solo. Or they would just record all the solos on a cassette tape so they could just ramble on all the way through just all of the solos of these guys that bumblebee everything.
It's like the YouTube guys. The YouTube guys are like that.
Yeah, and
I want to mention my YouTube channel.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I want.
I have this YouTube channel called JPearlTV.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but you would really, you would dig it.
Love it.
It's just because you guys are rock and rollers, so you get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You get where I'm coming from as far as trying to explain to people. See, I have these arguments with my wife a lot because she's always afraid that I'm going to ruin because people have a fantasy of what we do and how we do it. They think we live in mansions. They think that, you know, did you take a private jet here? You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? People actually, they think that. They think they don't understand that it's work and that it's a working man's game these days for guys like us that are just, you know, we dig what we do, and we don't take it for granted and stuff like that. So I try to explain how we do it and in the sort of behind the scenes without my wife, don't ruin their fantasy. You know what I mean?
So you're not talking about your day job?
Yeah. I mean,
I just want you to talk about your day job.
Well, when they say, "Oh, it's work," then people kind of give that a negative connotation. Oh, so it's just a job. Well, it is a fucking job.
Right. Yeah,
it is.
Right. Yeah,
and it's a damn good job.
You're either good at it or you're not.
Yeah. So I talk about it on my channel, JPearlTV, and you know, I mean, obviously we're all, but there is that YouTube contingent of dudes, you know, live from the man cave where they kind of, I talked about it with the Skid Row thing about everybody thinks that they can do that gig. And, you know, well, I can, you know, in my man cave, I'm a lord.
Right. Lord of the man cave.
Well, I was gonna say the guys, and I think that it really did start in the 80s. It's when I started to notice it anyway. This is pre-internet, pre-YouTube. So these guys learn how to, and they're fucking completely capable guitar players. They're just ripping and shredding and everything. But you say, okay, play Highway to Hell, and they can't.
With no soul.
Right. No, they can play it, but it's got no soul.
You guys get it. That's where I was going with it. So that right there applies to, not that I'm trying to get under your blanket, but that applies to Darren and the songwriting, and how you told the story about where he was like, I don't know if I can do this. Well, of course you can. You're a badass, but yeah, you might have to like leave some stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rethink where you would normally go. Because guitar players, as you know, lead guitar players, the solo is the most important part of the blah, blah, blah. I mean, it took him a couple of years to get past that idea that the solo is the most important thing. Of course if you're a guitar player, of course it's important. Yeah. Because it's your thing and you get to map out the journey. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
there's a lot of Led Zeppelin songs without a guitar solo. There's
it's
a lot
it's about the song. It's about the chorus. That's I talk about it in my YouTube channel. Same thing. How to write a song. There's a lot of cool riff masters out there. You know what I mean? But what is your song about? What am I going to take away from that song? If you have a memorable chorus. You know what I mean? That's all. Yeah. If you don't have a chorus, you don't have shit.
Yeah. There's a line in one of your songs, I think it's Eye for an Eye, where it says, I used to be sentimental, but now I'm just mental, or something to that effect.
Well, that song, Eye for an Eye, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about the whole love-hate experience during the heyday of the Columbia record deal. I mean, the first line of the song is, I thought we were supposed to be rich for the rest of our lives.
Right.
You know what I mean? What happened?
Yeah. I had an old manager tell me one time, hey, you're only broke till your next publishing check. I go, well, the mailman just came and I'm gonna be waiting a long time. It's a quarterly check and my checks are $200. So back to the original question. Can I borrow $100?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you some of that enormous BMI check that I get in a couple of months.
Right.
37 cents.
Yeah. Back to, I was asking these days, because I feel like songwriters, when they've been writing, 30 years, if lyrically, where do you go? What inspires you?
What do I write about?
Yeah. How is it? Is it a phrase in a movie, a line in a book? Is it a story you heard?
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because sometimes I watch this true crime stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On Netflix and stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And these people are so fucked up. The murderers and the psychopaths and stuff. That sometimes, as an observer, I try and get into their head of what makes them tick. And when you do that, all of a sudden, it gives you an interesting POV for a song coming from the point of view of this guy. You know what I mean? And obviously, you're not going to be graphic. You're not going to be too creepy because you want it to still be sort of poetic and lyrical. But sometimes songs are like that where I'll write a song about some girl that I know that's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? But I won't be mean. I'll just be, as an observer, I can use that to write a song, like about a fallen woman or, you know what I mean? Generally, I don't write love songs per se. One song per record is for my wife, and that's about as, because I'm just not, that guy. I'm
melancholy.
I'm just not the sappy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which song on the new album is for your wife?
It's called "The Wrath of Love."
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Meaning, you love this girl, and so you're still, damn it, I love this chick.
Driving me crazy.
Well, it just she can't have it all, man. You know what I mean? It's me trying to still hold on to my narcissistic, chauvinistic man child. mentality.
But I see the war inside your head.
And it's tongue in cheek, you know,
Yeah.
eye for an eye is sort of about the love-hate stuff, and You're Gonna Burn is sort of, you know, this chick that's, you know, fucking with you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be someone like your wife, of course, but it's someone that you can sort of conceptualize and put in a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tom Petty was good at it. Every single song was about some girl that done him wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure his wife was sitting there going, "Really?
Yeah.
Another one?"
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. What inspired the title Punk Rock Fiesta? I love it.
Again, sort of a metaphorical way to convey attitude, to sort of keep the attitude back in rock and roll. For me anyway, like I said, I mean, we're all getting older, and people, your body's telling you to slow down, and you know, you need to slow down, but I don't want to slow down, because once I slow down, it's like the rock vultures will start to circle.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, maybe backing tracks are a good idea. You know what I mean? And it's a slippery slope.
No.
I know. I'm, you know, man to man, we know that's not the way to go.
No.
But you see it. I'm sure you've been at gigs where you see it, you know, at sound check going, "Hey, who's singing?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In recent times.
Yeah.
Probably more.
But that's,
so in recent
you know what I mean?
times
And that's up to the individual, you know. And I know, because I've seen Jason play 100 times, that the power is in giving 100% every show. You know what I mean? That's because it's all you have at the end of the day. It's all you have is your gig, and how much you give of yourself for that gig. And it means something. That in 2025 still means something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't deal with the streaming and the Spotify and all the different death by 1,000 cuts that musicians have to deal with, but at least you can, you know, you have your gig.
Yeah. You mentioned your YouTube channel, by the way, is great, and I randomly came across a segment called "Singers Don't Have to Be Dicks Anymore" or something like that, where you were talking, or they don't have to be dicks to each other or something. Yeah, Jason's mentioned in that episode by coincidence.
I was surprised. I wasn't expecting to hear my name. I was just watching Jizzy's show going, "Oh, this would be cool." Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's as you get older, I mean, there's no more rivalry like there used to be. I'm not concerned that Dangerous Toys is selling more records than I am. You know what I mean? But there was a time when, you know, you would look at the magazine and go, "Jesus Christ, they got 4 more ads." I mean, fuck those guys.
Well, everybody's in their 20s and full of shit at some point.
Well, but there was, even though we were still friends, I mean,
Understood.
of course, it was my tribe versus your tribe, and it's just
I get it a little bit.
Friendly rivalry and stuff. But now there doesn't really have to be, because
why do we have to open for love hate?
Yeah. I will not
I
strike my drums.
Yeah.
Now you're like, can I open for love hate so I can go home and go to bed? Right?
Yeah. Hey, Jizzy, can my drummer use your drum kit? You know, I can ask you that without peeing in your face. You know,
That's right.
You know, let me ask him. Let's see. You know,
So
you would at least try to work something out. That kind of thing is now. Back then, I see exactly what you were talking about.
Who did you view as your competition or your biggest rival back in the love-hate heyday, if you will? Who were you looking in the magazines for and going, okay, how are these guys doing compared to us?
You know what? I wasn't really that concerned. I remember
that's a good answer.
I remember when we were. I'll tell you a funny story. This is how fucked up I was. When I heard that Mr. Big sold 60,000 records in one day for that ballad, it made me mad. I don't know why. it made me mad.
Do you remember the name of the ballad?
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
To Be With You, the one?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, that's it.
I was drunk at the whiskey one night, and I saw Paul Gilbert, and I went up to him and I go, is it true that you sold 60,000 records in a day? And he goes, well, that's what they're telling me. And still we're thinking, we're friends and blah, blah, blah. And then I just going, wait a minute. You're telling me that you sold 60,000 records. And he looked at me and I'm, spitting orange peel in his face. And he did the right move. He kind of smiled, turned around and walked away.
Oh my God.
Love it.
I mean, what an asshole. What an asshole. I had so much given to me when I was on Columbia, and I don't ever, people ask me about that. Well, why didn't you sell millions of records? I don't know. Because the rock gods decreed that I was going to get this much, and it was amazing. It was like I got this huge cheesecake. I didn't get 7 cheesecakes or 15 cheesecakes, but I got a badass cheesecake, and I'm stuffed.
Yeah,
and I feel good. I got a sugar rush, dude. I'm ready to climb the walls, and that's the way you have to think about that time in your life. You got the MTV videos, dude. You got the arena tours. You had so much, and where 95% of people didn't really get anything.
true.
Yeah.
Think of all those bands that never got record deals, dude, that are just, they're sitting there going, I wonder what it was like. Well, it was killer. Okay.
Yeah.
It was killer. And let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
But although fleeting moments is what
Years though,
Yeah.
not so much. Fleeting would be, I got 6 weeks in a van and my record
no.
went down the toilet.
Wow.
Right.
No,
Because I know guys that did that. I remember it was at a club in Los Angeles, and a friend of mine, he had just gotten a record deal. And I came up to him because he was in line and he had this look on his face like he just shit his pants. I look at him and I go, dude, congratulations on your record deal. Because I was happy for him. And he goes, I just got 6 fucking weeks in a van and my record, and we're already dropped.
Oh.
I just, I didn't know what to say. Well, sorry, dude.
Yeah.
But I gotta go.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's
fleeting. Yeah.
That right there, and you're not wrong. That happened a lot all around us, I can say.
Or you got shelved and the record never came out.
Yeah,
or you lost your A&R. Like Jet Boy lost their A&R guy.
Yeah.
And their record went into the toilet. It wasn't their fault. They made a good record.
We've had some of those guys on and they talk about it. That's a legit story. And they were the next thing. I mean, they were happening when Guns was happening. So
totally.
I don't have to tell you. So yeah, it's really interesting.
What was out of all the tours that you had, because you had some big ones. You went out with AC/DC and Dio and Ozzy, I think Skid Row. Going back to those days, which tour was your most memorable and most fun, and which one was, I won't say a pain in the ass, but more challenging or less than ideal?
Well, they were all fun. I mean, and Jason again can attest to this, that when you get a record deal, and you have money for the first time in your life, you can't even believe it. You're just walking around and you're a hero at home. You're not a joke anymore. Your parents don't, on Thanksgiving, they're not loading up the turkey and the stuffing and the Tupperware because they know you have no money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Here you go, son. This will keep you alive for a few more days.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a hero. You go to the Strip, you go to the whiskey, and you're a hero. You know what I mean? You did it. So we made that progression of, you made the record came out, we started playing clubs. Remember Z-Rock?
Of course.
Yeah. We did a Z-Rock tour.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got on the Dio tour, and I'm playing with Dio, who's one of my idols forever and ever.
Yep.
And then, you know, we did Overseas, and then we did Skid Row, and then we did AC/DC. They all, I mean, we played these massive places in Europe, opening up for Skid Row when they were at their peak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was gnarly. It was gnarly.
Yeah.
You know, it was great. You know what I mean? And I tried to stay away from Sebastian. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I was always getting in fights with people on the road. I mean, I got in a fight with Zakk Wylde. I got in a fight with Sebastian. I got in a fight because I was just having a good time and partying, and shit got out of control. And yeah. So
well,
yeah.
you get, you know, the dangers are there if the party favors are made ready, available to you,
Mm-hmm.
and situations might come up where there might be some temptations for you to do or say something that someone else might not want to do or say at the moment.
Well, I mean, it's also when you go out with Ozzy Osbourne, you want to party with the guy.
Well, I mean,
Well, sure.
that's on
isn't that
paper.
part of the game, right?
All of you
paper,
younger
that sounds
folks,
good.
you've seen the dirt. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that guys like us, we grew up with those stories, the Led Zeppelin stories and the Ozzy stories, and I wanted to party with Prince of Darkness, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to snort ants with the Prince of Darkness, and he was sober, and it was a dry backstage. Sharon was there making sure that he wasn't gonna fall off the wagon. And I mean, I walked past the dressing room, and Ozzy's doing sit-ups.
Wow.
And I'm just going, what is going on?
Shattered the
You know what I mean?
mystique. Yeah.
It was totally lame. He's on an exercycle. Hello, mate. I was just going, fuck you. I want the other guy.
So what you got in a fight with Zakk Wylde on this tour?
Well, in 92.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
What happened there? What was that all about?
Gum, 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 gum.
Okay. The
Yeah,
demon.
we had a night off in Milan, and we were all drinking hard. All the crew guys were drinking hard. We were a really high-end restaurant in Milan. I mean, supermodels and just, it was ridiculous. And we were just fucked up. The crew guys don't belong at a high-end restaurant in Milan. They were just fucked up. They're arm wrestling and belching and vomiting. You know, they didn't belong there, but we were all out of control. And me and Zakk said something. I used to work out. I used to do, well, I still do martial arts, but back then I would work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's when you could bring suitcases on the road with you, and I would have stuff, and I would be, you know, punching and doing stuff, and he's drunk and I'm drunk, and words were exchanged, and he punched me, and I went flying, and I landed on this table full of supermodels, and I spilled all their food and their linguine and clam sauce all over these hot chicks. And I got up, and I'm, you know, slightly embarrassed. I'm trying to get my dignity, you know, assembled. And all the security rushes in, and Zakk goes, man, it's no big deal. We're all friends. And I look at him, I go, yeah, we're all friends. And I punched him as hard as I could. And it was like he was wearing a Kevlar vest.
Didn't phase him.
Nothing phased him. And then again, I went flying, and he started going crazy. He started getting mad. And all of a sudden, even through my alcohol haze, I realized that it was a good time to sort of, you know,
Back off.
time out.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, a half hour later, I'm wearing his cowboy hat, and we're dancing on the dance floor, cheek to cheek.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like drunken idiots. And it made the news.
Wow.
It made the news because my girlfriend from Los Angeles called me from the United States and going, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? Really?
Wow.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was that. But I'm just saying, yeah, 30 minutes later, it's all hugs and kisses. You know how it is.
Sure. Hey,
Stuart.
tell us about how you we just had Johnny Kelly on the show, and what a great man he is. Love Johnny Kelly. We do here at Talk Louder. Tell us a little bit about what
bugs you about him.
no how the Quiet Riot entered your world.
I just got a call from Alex
Okay.
in 2013 or 14, maybe, I think.
Okay.
And it was
been a little while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't dig their guy or whatever reason he was fucking up, or, I mean, singers, they're just, and,
they're all assholes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just went and, I got the gig. I played with them and learned the songs and got the gig. And then I was with them for a few years, and as you know, Frankie got sick.
Yeah.
And Johnny filled in, I think, because it was an emergency and Frankie couldn't do a show in Dallas. And so Johnny kind of learned 15 or 20 songs in, a week and went and did the gig. And Frankie thought that was cool and realized at a certain point he had to not, you know what I mean? It was not going to be, he couldn't do the gig anymore, which is freaky. And then he just sort of said, "I would like you to be the drummer if I can't do it." And that's kind of how that happened.
Yeah, that's
How
pretty
did you
much
end up in Quiet
That's
Riot?
pretty much how Johnny told the story. But
yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
you getting a call because there are other guys not working out. I mean, anything else you can tell us besides that? It was just like, hey, we need a singer. Come on over.
Well, I'm one of those guys that has had the weird distinction of having sung in a lot of these classic rock bands.
Yeah.
I mean, I sang in Ratt.
Yeah.
I sang in LA Guns.
Yeah.
The only band I haven't sang in yet is Warrant. But you know what, Robert? There's still time. I'm coming for you.
It ain't over yet.
Or
That's
Dangerous
right.
Toys. Maybe Dangerous.
Biatch. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah.
Robbie Crane, Robbie.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that if some band needs a guy to learn 15 or 20 songs, you're one of those. You've been that guy, Jason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need you to learn 15 or 20 songs, and with no rehearsal, get on a plane and get on stage. And there's not too many of us that can do that because, you're asking for a lot of trust, that this guy is going to be able to pull it off. And so I'm one of those guys. And that's how I get these gigs a lot of times is that by reputation or, okay, he's not going to, ruin it for you,
Right.
and he can hit the notes.
Yeah.
And he doesn't lose his voice, and so that's kind of how I get these gigs.
Not going to be just a party, like a bull in a china shop, drunk kind of.
And there are guys out there that are really good singers, but have that reputation. I mean, obviously, we're not going to mention names.
No.
But there are guys out there. It's kind of like the hot chick syndrome, when you look at a really hot chick at a bar and you're going, man, that chick is beautiful. Why doesn't she have a boyfriend?
Because she's psycho.
There's a reason.
Yeah, exactly. This segues nicely into a question that I actually had for you. We're talking about your time in Ratt and LA Guns and now Quiet Riot. Was there ever a situation where you joined one of those bands and felt like the chemistry had some potential to sort of write the next chapter for that band, or was it always kind of understood, and I mean this with all due respect, was it
You're
always
just
kind
a
of
hired gun.
that you're just going to go out and do the hits and that's that? Was there with Ratt or LA Guns, was there ever like a situation where you thought, I'm getting along really well with the guys, we have potential to write some great songs together, we could possibly turn the page on this band's history and create another valid chapter?
Yeah. I mean, when I joined LA Guns, we actually did do a few records together.
Mm-hmm.
When I auditioned for that band, I didn't even audition with LA Guns songs. Tracy and I just did Led Zeppelin songs because he's a huge Zeppelin guy. And so we just jammed Zeppelin. He goes, well, you got the gig. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. You know, and then with Ratt, originally, and you guys probably know this, but Robert Mason originally got the gig a long time ago.
I don't think I knew
this
that.
Is a long time ago. Anyway, I auditioned. He auditioned. A million dudes did, and he got the gig. But for some reason, he didn't want to do it, or didn't want to do it, or something. I don't know exactly. But anyway, I got the gig, and I was in that band for 6 or 7 years. But they were suing each other behind the scenes, and nobody could talk about it. That's why we never did any new music, because of the, litigation nonsense.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But as far as to your question, the hardest thing to do in a band and is to get along with people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that are really, really good musicians, but again, it's why can't they stay in a band? Personality, ego, whatever.
Right.
But you have to be able to get along with people in a band because you're together all the time. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, on the plane, in the airport, in the van. Mm-hmm. It's constantly, you're with the same group of guys, and you better be able to get along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or them get along with you.
Right.
And so chemistry musically is important, but chemistry just personality-wise is almost more important.
Yeah.
Because the way people, if you're on a bus with someone for 5 months, the way they brush their teeth can get on your nerves. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's very, camaraderie is a huge thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yeah.
Have you ever auditioned for a well-known band and didn't get the gig? Is there any rehearsals or auditions that we don't know about that you kind of had your sights set on?
It's funny. I did audition for Skid Row 25 years ago or 30 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't blonde enough. I don't know.
I turned down that audition.
Yeah.
They offered
it. It's a tough gig. It's a tough, not only is it a tough gig musically, it's a tough gig because everyone's, you know what I mean? You are in the fucking spotlight of horror. You know what I mean?
I couldn't have said it better.
Hit a bad note.
Yeah.
You're a loser. Well, don't get that high note at the end of 18 in life. Die.
People still think Sebastian is, they see Skid Row on the marquee and they go, Sebastian going to be here? 30 years later, they still think that. So when they go out and they see the Jizzo, like, what the fuck is going on? And it's not even your fault. It's not.
I did a gig once in LA Guns in Australia, and the merch girl told me this story that some guy ran out after 2 songs. He was just indignant. He goes, who is this Jizzy fellow? You know what I mean? I want Phil Lewis.
Wow.
You can't please everybody. You can only, and you filled in for people. You know this. Yep. You just do the best you can. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not here to replace anybody. I'm not here to mimic anybody. Right. And, I'm just here to do the best I can to the music. And this is me, warts and all, man. And I hope you dig it.
Yeah. The cool thing is about it's about you. Is that yes, all of the things that you just said, but these are gigs where you're the replacement guy, but you're standing there helping out that band and that business, if you will, to stay on the road. The crew is getting pay. The singer's sick or that somebody fucked up and the tour's canceled. No, you're saving the day for a lot of people's paycheck. And fans are not thinking like that. They don't give a shit about that type of stuff.
Right.
It makes me think of your wife saying, "Don't spoil don't talk about these things." But it's also you're stepping in and filling shoes for people that you respect.
Well,
And
yeah.
so-
I mean, you're doing it for yourself, but you're also, of course, Kevin wrote these killer songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's important that I do them justice and do my thing. And I mean, it's a heavy thing. I don't think of it like that. I don't think of how heavy it is to be the replacement guy. I just do the best I can because I've been doing it so long.
Yeah.
And I get to do my own love-hate stuff too. You know what I mean? I get to do my own music. I got tours and I'm doing gigs and stuff like that. So it's not like I don't have my own sort of sense of self.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all good.
It's been you raise a interesting, not a new topic at all, but the fact that I'm in this band, but I have all this other shit going on to scratch every itch and any itch I might have in my band, that everyone knows me for, the most popular, the nucleus of what, the people on social media, if you will, know me as or from. They may not even know about my extra curriculum, but I want them to know about it and know that these guys are cool with me being an outside painter, being a creator outside, as to where some camps might frown on that a little bit.
It's nowadays, it was different 20 or 25 years ago when I joined Ratt. There was some, hate.
Yeah.
There was some hate. People didn't dig it. And I don't blame them, but you know what I mean? It's just, they got used to it after a while. And now but replacement guys weren't as prevalent as they are now because people are getting older and now people are getting older and some of us aren't even with us anymore. You know what I mean? And what are you going to do? You know what I mean? It's about keeping music alive and it's about playing music, but it's also about, working.
Yeah.
And, And you're never going to be able to, I can go on any of my YouTubes and there's a million of them. There's always going to be these dickheads that just don't, you know what I mean? Stupid name, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
What kind? There's nothing, you know what I mean? They're not going to buy a record. They don't give a shit. So who cares?
Yeah.
Where did your stage name come from?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that.
Leave it to Dave to ask these questions. I'm out. See you later.
Well, he opened the door. He mentioned somebody bagging on him for his name. So
I did Eddie Trunk this week, and he asked me the same thing. So the short answer is, I was on the Sunset Strip. I was surrounded by people larger than life, Nikki Sixx and Blackie Lawless, and you see these guys, and they look. Even Blackie Lawless. He looked 10 feet tall up there. Blackie Lawless. And you're trying to get noticed, and you want to be in a band, and you want to be there, larger than life, just like Saul Hudson changed his name to Slash. His parents were probably going, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? But you have to manifest this larger than life persona if you want to A, get noticed, and B, be good enough for Columbia Records to go, I'm going to give this guy $750,000. You know what I mean? You can't just be normal because You know what I mean? You need the full package. And so my name is Jim, and I just became Jiz, and then the rest sort of followed suit. And that's it in a sense. Who knew that, you know, I'd be in my 60s, you know, I wasn't thinking.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I understand.
This name was going to be, you know, remotely silly.
Right.
In 2025, you know, I mean, I was thinking at the time, I was thinking, how do I get this girl to buy me Denny's breakfast? Because I have no money. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's where my head was at.
I was, you know, I understand the whole idea of creating a persona and changing your name and all that, but I you know, I stop and I think to myself, man, are you opening yourself up for a lot of stones being thrown at you with that name and just not caring? And then, like you said, you probably never imagined you'd be in your 60s and still answering to that name.
Well, yeah, but if you were named Biggest Dickus, I guess that would be, you know, that would be a tough act to follow. It is I am what I am. You know what I mean? I mean, that's it. If I changed my name back to my normal name, it would be like I was some embarrassed of it. You know what I mean? It's just, you are what you are at this point. People know me as a certain person, and I'm really on stage and writing songs, and that person that people see on YouTube and on stage and stuff like that, I am that guy. I'm not Jim. Right. Jim is a dude that reads books and does sit-ups and runs at the park, you know what I mean?
Right.
And is on a strict keto diet, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm just saying, you know, people want that larger than life thing, and that, you know, they dig that. And you have to give them that at some point.
And to your credit, you've been around long enough now. It's just become normalized. I don't think anybody even really gives it that much thought anymore. You know, I only asked the question because you kind of made the point of.
Yes. I stepped in the shit, and now I'm forced to wipe it off. I get it. Tell
me about your books, because I'm a writer myself, and I thought it was interesting that I looked up your books, and you did like 3 in a year. Is that right? They all came out in 2011?
No. I wrote them a long time ago. I started writing my first book, I think in '99. I was in LA Guns for the first go around, and I was on a bus, and I used to write short stories. I sort of always have, and somebody suggested you should write a book. And I thought, well, I'm not good enough, you know, because I'm thinking Stephen King, and, you know,
right.
He's a real writer. I'm just kind of, you know, telling fart jokes.
Right.
But I decided, well, fuck it. You know, I'll do it. And I wrote a book, and then I wrote it. I've written 4 books. So
are they all in print? Are they available?
Yeah. No, they're in print. They're on this JizzyPearlsLoveHate.com thing I'm doing. Perfect. Where I'm selling my physical product as well, and the vinyl of the new record.
Cool.
And all that kind of propaganda. Yeah, I mean, you know, I sell them and people buy them, and I just, people don't read as much as maybe they used to. I wish they did. It's like people don't buy physical product the way they used to. I wish they did. But it's 2025, and you know, you just got to deal with certain realities. But I still sell them if that's, you know.
When you're inspired to write a book, is it something you sit down and focus on and sort of exclude all your other creative pursuits so that you can focus on the book, or is it something that kind of goes hand in hand and you work on it at the same time that you're writing songs or doing your YouTube channel?
No, it's pretty much one. I'm pretty much unipolar as far as how I do stuff. If I'm in tour mode, I'm running, I'm exercising, I'm doing my voice. If I'm in writing mode for a record, I'm in the man cave, you know, turning off all Instagram and TikTok and all the nonsense. Book writing, what I've done, I've kind of graduated the book writing over to the YouTube channel as far as telling short stories. You know what I mean? Because I write short stories. You get an idea, and you flesh it out, you write a story. But on the YouTube channel, you can kind of do it, and you know what I mean? And it's free.
Yeah.
So I've sort of gone over to the dark side and of YouTube and done it that way, and told some stories from my book, the ones obviously that can be told.
Right.
Sure.
Right. No, I get you loud and clear, because I've sort of, this podcast has become my new thing. I don't write for print as much as I used to, because this has become my new platform, if you want to call it that. I used to have a website where I, kind of like you're talking about, short stories, blogs, concert reviews, album reviews, whatever. I don't do so much of that anymore, because I have this forum to talk about music or whatever. It's just kind of, I still need to scratch that itch. It's just a different format.
Book writing is hard. I mean, it takes months.
That's why I've never done it. Yeah, that's why I always admire people that have sort of faced that, because to me it seems like such a daunting task.
It is. I mean, I'm an avid reader, and when I read someone like Stephen King or John Connolly or Daniel Silva or any of one of a dozen writers, I just think the idea that you've made this thing that's 2 inches thick, and it's just a story from beginning to end. See, I can only tell short stories, 15 pages, 20 pages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just kind of run out of steam. You know, I've kind of exhausted the idea.
Right.
But that's why the YouTube channel is so perfect, because, 15 minutes, people's attention span. All right, I've had enough.
Yeah. No, that's one of the reasons I like your YouTube channel is your segments are, 7, 8, 15 minutes or something like that. And it's over. And I was going to ask you, in that episode that I mentioned about singers don't have to be dicks to each other anymore, I think you mentioned that you're doing that show from your Camaro. I mean, so tell me, are you outside is that an apartment complex or your house? Or?
Yeah, I have these horrible neighbors, and I just got a Toyota RAV4, a brand new one, and it's a great car. So now I've been doing them from my RAV4 instead of the Camaro. So yeah, I'll do it at 7 a.m, and I don't need people freaking out on me and calling the cops and hate speech and stuff like that. So I kind of just do it from my car, because I get to control the atmosphere.
Yeah. I guess if you're in a place where there's thin walls at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're getting excited, yelling into your phone, they might, see how, if you take it out to your outside office, you can get emotional and no one can get butt hurt.
Well, it's just control, dude. It's a controlled environment. I do some in my house too as well. It just depends. It's just, the YouTube is a great vehicle to be able to express yourself. You know what I mean? But I want to stay this side of being the to where your whole life is following yourself around with the phone and stuff like that. That's just I don't want to become that guy. And I see guys like that all the time, but they get all the money.
Yeah.
Because their whole life is basic. It's like Truman Show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their whole fucking life is, here I am making crepes, and there's somebody watching, and I somehow like that.
Here I am taking a shit.
Yeah, I mean, we could take it to the natural extreme. Why
That's
not?
where. Well, I feel like it's Truman Show, like you said. It's brilliance, but it's also way too much information.
It's also banal. It's also very. I wonder why people watch sometimes, and I just, you know what I mean? I just think to myself, what is so fucking interesting about this? You're walking your dog.
Well, is your life so shitty that you have to be part of someone else's, just looking through, it's looky-loos, and it's Rear Window. It's a creepy, it's a train wreck, or it's watching grass grow. And that's what people kind of need in their life, because I feel like people live for chaos. A part of the chaos is them looking over the fence.
And
Like, why is
also
that dude
people
looking at me over the fence all the time? Because there's probably too much chaos in their life, and which they have to function. But this is just part of it. Them looking over to see what else is going on.
or the other side of it is that people think that your life, because we're lead singers, your life and my life, it's strippers and a stripper pole in the living room and a mound of blow on the table. And they get disappointed when they realize that we're just
Taking a shit.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's what I love about your channel is, because of who you are and the experiences you've had, and you alluded to this earlier in the discussion. You offer a great perspective because you have that perspective. Jason has the same perspective. I love how you share things that people might not realize about the rock and roll lifestyle, if that's what you want to call it. Because it's very down to earth, and it sort of peels back the layers and the mystique, and sort of lets you know that, man, this is just a grind, and here's how you survive it, and here's some lessons I've learned and whatnot. And it's not preachy, but it's not sensational. It's just right down the middle of the road kind of reality. And again, it's over in 10 minutes, and you get on with your life.
But it's true. Being a survivor, Jason is also he's been around like me since. When did your first record come out? What year, Jason?
Well, I had done a record in the mid '80s with my band Watchtower, and it was a few years later. I mean, I was 21 when that, and so
you were stuck in the '80s even then.
22, 22 or something. So, summer '89 was when the first Toys.
February '90. So
wow, right,
same time.
Yeah. And the pundits probably told you the same thing. Dude, if this would have come out 5 years ago, this would have been the shit, but it would, I heard that a lot.
Like I said, it's not really up to, you can have the best songs, the singer with the best, tightest ass, the best hair, you know what I mean? And if it's not meant to be, it's just not meant to be. You can't put something together. Elon Musk cannot put together the perfect hairband that's going to sell millions of records. You can think AI can't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They think they can, but they can't, because there's this element of luck and fate that's, I got this huge record deal, dude. We were so desperate. We were just out of control. And I never would have, it had come to that point where you just think, fuck, I'm just going to be a casualty, and I'm going to go down in flames, and fuck it. And then all of a sudden people like you, Well,
and I feel like, if I may interject here, I feel like you also, on top of it, I'll start with speaking for myself, I guess, a little bit before I throw it on you. I feel like there's a point where you realize, and I feel you, where you're like, fuck, I've just, my record's not selling this week or next week. I'm kind of done. Right. At some point, whether it's years into it, 6 months into it, like some of our friends, yada, yada. I feel like there's a point where you realize, I just need to back up a little bit and make sure I'm doing this, whatever this is, for the right reason. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about anything. I need to write the best fucking song I can with my bros I've been making music with the whole time, and make sure they're in it to win it, just like we are, and take what the universe is giving us, but still have the hustle and the fire, and do it for the right fucking reasons. Do you feel like there was a point where you had to make that conscious effort to be like, oh, well, if I don't have a record deal today, I'll just make my own fucking record for me and go, go, go. And I feel like that's where a lot of us are right now. Comment, please.
Yeah, comment. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, you can't, if you don't have hustle, you're just not going to survive, because there's dudes like me and like you that'll take your gig. You know what I mean? Gigs are there, and it's the dudes that hustle are the ones that get it, you know. And by that I mean that stay in the game, that keep your chops up, that, you know, don't start eating, you know, processed sugar every, you know, 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just, you have to stay in the game and you have to hustle. When it was 94 or 5 when I lost the Columbia deal, everyone else moved on. You know what I mean? They were all married and they had kids. And it was like I was looking through the window at these people I didn't recognize anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just going, children? What do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What a foreign concept.
I didn't get it, because I had grown up with this thing of the Sid Vicious mentality of rock or die and this and that. And maybe, you know, I was kidding myself at the time, but we used to live in this loft downtown. It was just piece of shit, cheap building with rats and, you know, just this poverty. And when we lost our deal, I moved back into the building to hunker down. You know what I mean? It was like the zombies were coming, and I was just putting, you know, 2x4s over the windows and stuff. Fuck you. You know what I mean? You're not going to get me. And they stopped playing. And we sort of, how
Mm-hmm.
we lost the thread, that we stopped being a tribe the way that we were before, you know. And then I got into LA Guns. All of a sudden I got a call. The rock gods thought to themselves, all right, this dude is for real. He's not giving up. We're going to give him a bus and all the free beer he can drink. And he's going to write a book, you know what I mean? And I'm just going, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened. And then it ended up going to Ratt, and then, you know, on and on and on and on and on.
You had a job, and you were in it to win it, and you still had fire, and you're still not fucking done, not even by a long shot.
Well, my record sort of speaks to that. You know what I mean? When they listen to it, when you guys listen to it, I hope that you will still hear that sort of angry fire that's still burning.
You hadn't lost a bit.
I hear it loud and clear. That's why I love it so much.
Your voice is there. You're still full package.
Well, the intention, the intention is to have a machete in hand. You know what I mean? Running down the street naked. Fuck you. You know what I mean? That's my intention, is to stay.
That would be Jizzy forgot to take his meds. Let's go lasso him down and get him back in the pen.
That would be good for my YouTube channel. I get a lot of fucking subscribers then if I do that.
Well, let's talk about that, you know, naked man with a machete, you know, cuffing himself to the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, man, I knew you would.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, hold on, I forget that fucking happened. Then I go, wait, did I dream that?
No, it happened, my
You
friend.
did that, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was
I died for your sins, dude.
Tell us a little bit about what, I mean, I don't want to call it a stunt. Were you politically yelling out at something?
Yeah, something was going on.
Okay.
Something was going on. It was the year was 1992.
Wow. Okay. Oh,
we were on the verge of kind of losing touch with the record label, and I felt it. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe what this band needs is a good old fashioned blood sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And so yours truly, with the help of my bandmates, made a giant crucifix, and we pulled it up that hill, and we hung it from those 60-foot letters. And it was a sort of a near-death experience. I mean, it was so stupid. I mean, in retrospect, because it was just, there was no safety. There was no OSHA, you know, guy looking over there going, you better put more nails into that.
You break your fucking neck.
It was very, very, dangerous and ill thought. You know what I mean? It was just the visual of it. And plus, I thought I would be taken down in a half hour. I just figured I would be seen really fast.
How long were you up there?
I was up there for a couple of hours.
Fuck.
A couple of hours, dude. I was baking in the sun and starting to, it was gnarly. I was just going, are you fucking kidding me? I'm crucified on the Hollywood sign. And if you've been to Hollywood, you know that the Hollywood sign is ever present.
Yeah.
I mean, you there's no way that you can unsee it. It's just there. I'm thinking,
it's strategically placed.
I'm thinking, I'm on a fucking cross here, bitches. And no one cares.
I was going to ask, did you get your message across, or was it just sort of dismissed as a wild rocker dude does crazy stuff?
Well, what happened was, I fulfilled my obligation to the rock gods. I mean, they called on me, and I answered the call. But my label, Columbia, was not happy. They were not pleased with because they didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? They didn't get it. I mean, this is Barbra Streisand and Bruce Springsteen. You know what I mean? They did not get Jizzo on the cross. They just they thought, they distanced themselves. You know what I mean?
What was your intention?
It's a good song title, Jizzo on the Cross.
My intention, like I said, was to rally the troops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, I'm willing to go down to fall on the grenade for rock. It was for the love of rock. It's sometimes you do stuff in your life as a musician that needs to be done because it has, for the love of rock, but not only for that, but for your own sense of validation as a musician. I got to do this.
Yeah.
And people tell you that's how you get a record deal in the first place, because everyone tells you that it's never going to happen. It's like winning the lottery. You're wasting your fucking life. You know what I mean? And if you don't have that sense of purpose, then it'll never ever happen anyway. You know what I mean? So you have to have that pig-headedness, and I'm just going. I'm going up there, and I'm going to hang.
Yeah.
And anyway,
you're unstoppable. That's for sure. Let me ask this: is if in one of your 4 books is that the story of Jizzo on the cross? Is it in the book? Did you put that?
It's on my YouTube channel. It's on my YouTube channel for sure. It's with footage too, because if you look at the footage, all the newscasters are just going, "We don't quite understand what the young man is doing. We think he's a suicide or that he's protesting the Earth Summit." I mean, they were just making shit up.
Yeah, sure.
But all of those motherfuckers were at the foot of the hill, just in case it was Faces of Death time.
Right.
Just in case I was going to take a header, that they were going to be right there for the money shot. They were disappointed. They were mad. Well, it seems like the joke is on us because it's just some guy named Jizzo in a rock band. We don't know what he was trying to do. I was trying to keep the fucking rock alive, fuck.
Right.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah. How long have you been doing the YouTube channel, by the way?
Couple of years.
And I think I saw you got like 6,000 subscribers or something.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an episode that you, regret's a strong word, but have you ever posted something and then thought maybe I shouldn't have talked about that topic?
Almost every day, almost all the time.
Wow.
I run them by my wife for quality control.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart.
And a lot of times her and I both thought that this is it. This one's going to be the one that gets you kicked off.
We're fucked now. Right.
Yeah. Wow. Serious. I mean, to be fair though, I mean, obviously, if you're married, you're not going to start bringing up all the Caligula shit that you did 35 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just some of the stuff, or talk shit about people, you know, naming names. Some people do that. I got to tour with, you know, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't do that because I would be an asshole and no one would want to play with me. You know what I mean? No one would want to tour with the shit talking asshole.
Right.
And
a lot of,
so you can allude, you can, you know, use generalities,
sure.
you know, but you got to, you know, because we're all in the same, you know, fetid swamp, so to speak.
Coexisting is important, and I feel like shit talking doesn't help anything. I think that there's a lot of things that people in our business, our industry already do to themselves with their own rope.
Right.
And
sure.
that usually is the reason why you and I don't have to say it. It's already been said from the horse themselves.
And
So,
it's just, it's a bad, I mean,
yeah.
you know, your channel could be that, but then no one would want to, you would be tarred by that weird brush.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that anyway. This is for entertainment. I mean, it goes a little dark sometimes, but you know,
You're a family-based channel.
Yes,
exactly.
But we allow curse, we allow fuck shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we allow fuck shit.
Speaking of which, I just had to get my single fixed. I have a new single off my record, and it has 2 words in it, and I had to go back to get it fixed for radio because we're going to try and go on radio.
Okay.
And I just thought to myself, you know, basically you can disembowel someone on television these days.
Yeah.
But you can't say fuck on the radio. You seriously?
Well, the Who said, "Who the fuck are you?" and people didn't care. And Alice in Chains did, "Shove my nose in shit."
Mm-hmm. Well, shit is different.
Oh, right. I guess shit is different than fuck.
I guess I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny that I was just thinking, this is so odd that I would even have to think along the lines of making something, you know, PC friendly.
Right.
Well,
how much time goes into having an idea and then going out to your RAV4 and recording an episode? Or is it very spontaneous, or do you kind of ponder it for a couple days and sort of get your thoughts together, or is it both?
I write it. I get an idea. For example, I got the idea. I read on the internet about the Dead Boys. Do you guys know about this?
Yeah.
About how they have obviously Stiv is dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have a guy that they use who's apparently really, really good.
Yeah.
But what they wanted to do was do a record in AI.
Yes.
This new singer's voice.
Yes.
To make it sound like Stiv Vader's. And I read that and I thought, any musician that thinks AI is a good thing should read this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you're going to be replaced by a robot, and then you're going to be going, "What the hell happened?" You know what I mean? So my point is I wrote a story about it, a rant, if you will, and I wrote it, and then I typed it, and then I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and then on this tablet that I'm talking to you from is a thing called teleprompter. You know what I mean? And so I read it, and people go, "Man, you're just, you know, is it ad lib?" It isn't ad lib. I mean, it's sort of scripted, and you sort of talk to the camera, which you know I've sort of learned how to do after doing YouTube videos. You know, that's where you look, not over here,
right?
You know what I mean? So it if you have an idea and it's eating at you, you can write it, fix it, clean it up, and basically put it up on YouTube within a couple of days.
Yeah. That's what I was getting at. Just, if there's like a rough draft and then you sort of think it over and edit a little bit and before you actually record.
Yeah.
What did you think about that whole Dead Boys thing? Because Jake has been the singer for a number of years now, and then they just got rid of him because of this whole episode. Cheetah got rid of him, or Jake decided to step out because he didn't want anything to do with the AI business, and now they got another.
So unpunk, isn't it? I mean,
it's really kind of weird. Yeah,
it's not
so
weird to me. It's like the guy said, "Fuck you, I'm not gonna do that," and walked away.
I get Jake's motivation. I don't get Cheetah's motivation, really.
Money,
record label, money label. Yeah,
it seemed like a good idea over lunch. I don't know. It's just AI tracks, streaming, Spotify. All these things are insidiously encroaching upon art, the art of singing. You know what I mean? Because singing is an art.
Yeah, sure.
It takes discipline. It takes so many different things besides projecting your voice. It's just everything. Commanding the stage, knowing how to look people in the eye, knowing how to take an audience and get them to dig you and to root for you. And, so many things. And all these other things in 2025, you just got to deal with the streaming and all that stuff. It's just, you can't bitch about it because what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's here to stay.
Yeah, of course. Sucks.
What are you going to do with your new album? Are you got tour plans? I know touring in this day and age is like ridiculously expensive and often. You know what? It's funny you say that. I'm going to the UK in a week. I have, and I'm playing the 35th anniversary of Blackout in the Red Room.
Nice.
Oh,
35 years.
Yeah. Amazing.
So it's crazy. So I'm going to go to England where I'm still sort of have a badass sort of following and do 2 weeks. And then I got a whiskey show in a couple of months and some other stuff. I mean, maybe down the line, sort of do more love-hate intermixed with the Quiet Riot and stuff like that. But
right. Where are you with Quiet Riot? Are you writing material? Is there a new album on the horizon? Or
there's some new stuff. There's some new stuff. To be honest, I don't know exactly where that sits, but there is some stuff. And I would say at some point in the future, sure.
Yeah. What about another book?
Oh, Jesus. You're pushing it, dude.
That's Dave.
You can't get enough Jizzo, man.
He's the real journalist between us, in case you haven't noticed.
I remember Gilby Clark is a friend of mine. I remember I did a gig with him, and I gave him one of my books. And I saw him the next day, and he goes, dude, I just read your book. I go, the whole thing? He goes, yeah, when are you going to write another?
It was
writing
one,
books.
It was one
hard.
night for Gilby, and
he was doing the Evelyn Wood speed method, I guess.
Takes me years to finish a book.
To answer your question, I just don't know. I mean, I'm doing this record. I got a lot of touring to do. Mm-hmm. I got stuff, you know what I mean? And books are that's a huge chunk of time and energy.
Are they autobiographical? Are they?
In some of the stuff is. Some of the stuff is. I talk about like getting signed, and because it's a good story.
Yeah.
And kind of the state of the Sunset Strip as it is, because everybody has this. They watch the rock star movie and they think they know everything about rock, but I talk about how wonderful it is, but also how cutthroat and how gnarly it was, and how people, you get desperate, man, because you're broke and you're just, all your friends are getting signed and you're just going, fuck.
How many people in the metal years and the decline of the Western civilization, did you know any of those cats in that movie?
I went to the premiere.
Yeah.
It was at the Cinerama Dome in Hollywood, and I went to the premiere and the after party too, where Chris Holmes's mom tried to pick up on all of us.
Wait. Do tell. We got to know more about this.
Well, if you know the movie.
Yo, yeah.
Anyway, but the story is, we're in the theater to watch this movie because I knew Penelope Spheris, you know, and she actually tried to get me in the Doors movie.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously I didn't get it.
I could see that.
Anyway, so I go to this premiere at the Cinerama Dome, and we're all sitting there, and Chris Holmes comes in, and he had broken his leg, and so he's got crutches. So, and you know, he's already 6'8". Anyway,
Right.
He's waving his crutches around, you know, and everyone's cheering him, and because he's just, you know, he's larger than life. Anyway, we're watching the movie, and then that scene comes on where he's in the pool, and he starts to sink down into his chair. And everyone's silent. The whole theater was silent because we were just kind of going, wow, this is gnarly. Because it was. I mean, it was obviously, you know, it was a moment of honesty. And but I was sort of, I didn't really, I knew of Odin. I didn't know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew those guys because they were playing on the Strip, and I knew the other guys, all those other bands, because they played on the Strip, so you would know their names. But I didn't know them. I thought that most of those bands didn't really come off very well.
Yeah, you just mentioned the desperation of that sort of nest of that ilk
vipers. Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of darkness there, where they're being asked, well, what if you don't make it in quotes, right? And they're like, oh, but I know that I'm going to. I know that I'm going to make it.
Dude, I was that guy. If they'd interviewed me, I would have said the same fucking thing.
Wow. Okay. Well, so did you know any of those cats in there? You didn't?
No.
I guess? Okay. All right.
No,
well, because it was probably just a million of them. And
there were a million guys that would have answered that. They would have all answered that question exactly the same. Yeah. I would have answered that question. Skid would have answered that question the same way. Yeah. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Well, you know, you realize the odds are 1 in 10 million. Fuck you. I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
well, except for the singer for Odin, didn't he say he was going to kill himself if he didn't make it? I think that's part of the.
Wow. We're calling you out.
I hope not.
No, it's the hot tub scene where he says he'll just kill himself if he doesn't make it or something like that.
Yeah, maybe he was just playing light with that. Let's hope.
Yeah, I think what she did was they just gave him 2 12-packs of beer and turned the record button on.
Left it on, right.
Let people just, you know, make idiots of themselves, which I went to the after party, and like I said, it was, and then we all came home and we were fighting and stuff, because you can watch the movie and you can go to the after party, you can meet Nicolas Cage and go, yeah, Nicolas Cage, but then you're drinking and all of a sudden you get angry because you're not, Junkyard just got a record deal and you're happy for them, but at the same time you're thinking, that's one less Wonka golden ticket for me. Yeah. And
I see that.
We went home and me and Skid were fighting and yelling at each other because you're mad. You know what I mean? You're mad. You're throwing dirt and shit on yourself, just going, fuck, when is it going to be my time?
Yeah.
And strangely enough, it became our time, you know, a month or two later.
It's interesting. It's interesting getting perspective from someone who's literally there, and to hearken back to something that we talked about already just for a second about the whole thing about oh God, what was it? Where, well, not to go back, fuck that. So let's talk about when you feel like you have this desperate nest of hive-minded people that maybe some of them feel like they're more deserving than the other guy, or it's just your youth and your angst and you don't want to get a real job and you hate the telemarketing gig you have and disposable jobs just so you can play fucking rock and roll. I get it. The world gets that.
Everybody thinks they're destined.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're destined. I mean, I'm sure you have that thing of I know I'm going to make it. I don't know when, but I know I'm going to make it. But everybody thinks they're destined. You know, you have to have that. You have to have it, or else you're dead meat.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, being there in the middle of it all. Oh, I know what I was going to say about how hair metal killed hair metal. I think that movie had something to do with it too. I mean, there was just a lot of desperation in that movie. There was a lot of things in that movie that were dark.
It was like a mockumentary.
Correct.
It mocked.
Correct. Yeah.
It mocked the Sunset Strip in a way.
I got bummed. I got bummed out when I watched the movie. You and Skid were arguing, being bummed about
I wasn't bummed about the movie because I understood, like that band London. You know what I mean? They were just they gave them a bunch of whiskey and just you know, it was like Jerry Springer. You know, now make an ass out of yourself.
Right.
You know, and sign this waiver, by the way. You know, so I get it. I get it.
Well, they're the entertainment of what's going on. But I walked away from the movie going, oh my God, what did I just see? Like
there was an element, for sure. There was an element of silliness. If you look back, and I have a lot of those old magazines. Yeah, I mean, there was an element of silliness. There just was. But then again, amongst all the, you know, the crap, there were a couple of oysters that had pearls in them. There was Guns N' Roses.
For sure.
There was Jet Boy. There was LA Guns, Faster Pussycat. And then there was Junkyard. And then there was us. And you know, there were incidents of real brilliance. I mean, when I played with Guns N' Roses at the Whiskey, I don't know, first out of 2 or 3. We were the 9 o'clock band.
Wow, yeah.
And I was just watching them. And they were out of control, dude. You didn't know what was going to happen. This is 87. This is before they made it.
Yeah.
You know, and you didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, you didn't know if Axl was just going to pull out a machete and just lop off someone's head. They were that unleashed.
Volatile, yeah.
I mean, it's gnarly because it's energy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%.
It's energy and you're drawn to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's magnetic, and you see it and you go, "Fuck!" That's why. As soon as Guns N' Roses made it, you know, headband sales quadrupled.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah,
right.
Bandana
Everybody's
sales
buying
through
cowboy boots.
Yeah, through the roof. Bandanas and cowboy boots.
Bandanas, just you know, Amazon. If there was an Amazon.
Yeah. Well, when the toys, it's not about me, but when like the scene down here in South Texas, South Central Texas, no Sunset Strip, no CBGBs, not, you know what I mean? We just had, Texas is, you know, 3 New Yorks and 2 Californias. Texas is large. In Austin, where it's kind of the free thinking spot in the middle of a red state, you know, kind of a thing where all the artists and freaks and Mohawks come, right? Hippies and shit. A band like your band or my band down here in a scene like this, there's no Sunset Strip. There's no like Mecca. There's no, it's a different kind of a hotbed. It's blues and singer-songwriter stuff and crooners and Willie Nelson and stuff, right? And not just country, but blues and there's some rock, but it's not, you know, it's not Love, Hate, and Dangerous Toys. You know? It's not Guns N' Roses, you know.
Wasn't it the Back Room?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
We played there.
Yeah. So that's where the toys were discovered, and that kind of goes where I'm going with this is like we were hit by a truck we didn't see coming, and then everybody out there trying to invite A&R to the Roxy is a different set of brain cell that we were unaware of, you know.
Sure.
Sure, we had dreams and aspirations, but it wasn't really about that.
Mhm.
So that when I see the movie again, I'll just refer it to the movie, Decline of the Western Civilization. I walked out going, "Fuck,
Mhm.
I'm not that desperate." Sure, I'll take a bag of money and go to Hollywood and record, but yeah,
It was very competitive.
You're mentioning the cutthroat thing, yeah.
Well, just competitive, man.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and you see, like I said, when you see your friends' bands get signed, it fucks with you. It fucks with you, and
Yeah.
and you realize that it's within your grasp, and you don't understand what you need to do. Better song, grow your hair, get a new tattoo. I mean, you're trying to analyze it in a fashion. I mean, but you're in that petri dish, so you're sort of forced to do it. Where you wasn't like that, but 6 months on the Sunset Strip, dude, you'd be because you can't help it. You're all of a sudden, you know what I mean? You're going, well, fuck. You know,
Right.
What do I do?
Yeah.
It's the business.
Yeah.
You're a product of your environment a lot of times, you know, and
And it was gnarly. And I mean, it was gnarly. There were 1,000 people every night on the Strip, and everyone was flyering and partying and having fun. And you were broke, but you know, it was like you were living in this alternative universe
Right.
of rock.
We
Where
got to experience that a couple of times in 87 and 88, right before it was kind of over. And it was fun. It was like
but it was also, there was the goofy aspect. You go to the Rainbow, and things got a little, it was a little disco-y, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when Kiss started to wear shoulder boards, you know what I mean? You go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Hey, what is that foam on your chest?
Easy.
That's a really good, because you're right. They didn't do that until like 79. Things started to get different. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you are a product of your environment, but nowadays, you know, you're basically forced to rely on talent and perseverance and hustle and staying in the game. You know what I mean? No one else can make you do the work that it requires to hit the notes every night. You know what I mean? You got to still want to do it. I mean, I rehearsed this morning before we even got together. I mean, it's just got to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then, you know.
Someone else will do it.
Do you cut vocals at home? Do you have like a studio set up? Yeah, cool.
I do.
Yeah, same.
I do. Yeah. It's easier. And,
oh my God,
and you get to do it when you're in the zone, and you don't have to feel like you have to finish it. And then you always end up maybe going back and beating what you already did.
Yeah.
The freedom.
You know, I have a confession to make. I use this exact setup that I'm using right here to cut vocals on worldwide releases, $100 microphone and an application in my laptop. I use an SM7. That's what I have. I have 2 feet away, but it's funny that I'm not using that because I'm lazy, kind of a thing. I cut vocals. I mean, sometimes I'll go over there, but I've got 2 different setups that I can use. It's interesting that I'm starting to go just old school with a 58 into.
I cut it on GarageBand.
Yeah,
I cut my vocals on GarageBand.
I've got some shit no one's ever heard of called MixPad. That's what I use.
Yeah, because as long as you give, know what you're doing, and sonically you are delivering the squiggly line just enough squiggle.
Exactly. Yes.
It's just then you give it to your engineer, and he puts all the shit on it, whatever you want on it, compression or frosting or whatever.
It's
But
it's kind of weird how in 30 plus years how it's come to just like a couple of little toys, and not like renting out this $200 an hour badass studio to make noise in, and it's like recoupable.
well, if it's not a good song, all that stuff isn't going to make it sound better. If you can't sing, see, guys like you and I have recorded so much that we have a good sense of what we want. Some guys, you know what I mean? They don't even know that they're singing flat. You know what I mean? You just sometimes I hear demos. It's just going, "Did you realize that
No,
we'll fix it in the mix, bro."
Yeah. Or they're telling the engineer, yeah, just fix it. I'll have fries with that. They're changing their whole, like, I'm done. I'm not going to walk away.
Yeah. If you know what you're doing, you can do it at home and do it well. And that's one of the cool things about the modern age.
With inexpensive gear. That's the whole point. With like nothing, like practically nothing. If you can create a strong wave file that's not all fucked up, you can. I talked to an engineer just in recent years that he's like happy that I'm sending him just roughs. He goes, "No, these will work. Your performance is great. I don't care if you used a 58 on your." He says people send me vocals they cut on their iPhone, and I run them through my vocal chain, and it works for their record. I'm like, what? Mind blown. I'm just like, whoa. But it's
because
real.
It's about the performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So interesting that. Jizzy, new record is great.
It is.
I love it that you have
it's coming out March 1st, by the way. So I don't know when this is coming out.
Yeah, this will be out in a few weeks. So by the time this airs, your record will be out and available. Can they just get it from your website, or
they get it from the website, or they can get it on the streaming
platforms,
all that stuff.
Yep.
Right.
And,
Rock Fiesta.
Punk Rock Fiesta.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Hey, can I talk to you, Jason? Can I talk to you after the recording?
Yeah, we can pause when we take this out. No problem.
Okay.
Jizzy, thank you so much for being here with us today. This has been incredible, and time is precious. And thank you for giving us so much of yours. Yeah, we love it.
I enjoy good
it.
chats.
Yeah, man.
I do, and we got to crack some good jokes.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, enjoyed getting to know you, man. Thanks for joining us today. And the new record is fantastic. Punk Rock Fiesta, everybody, check it out. The new album from Jizzy Pearl. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with our guest today, Jizzy Pearl, on the Talk Louder podcast.